Thank you very much, Trailer Park Boys. Greetings, everyone. Apologies for the craziness of the previous Hangout, which I've now deleted. So if you're watching this and you think I'm referring to them, before this stream, I held a very brief stream where it was just cut off immediately. Anyway, this is going to be a longish one, and I'm going to go over a series of things. Okay, so first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to screen share, and I'm going to say this. Today's Hangout is being aired under the Fair Use Act for educational purposes, critique, and parody. So bear that in mind. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share a video by Celtic67. Just bear with me a second. I have a whole series of windows open. It's a rather complicated subject we're going to go over today, a series of subjects we're going to go over today. but it's going to be good. Just more understanding of how the globe was arrived at, and a little discovery of how some of the land masses were placed and the error, and how we can actually determine with real world technology that it's an error the way it's plotted on the globe and on the Mercator maps. So greetings everyone, by the way, in chat. Mark of Melbourne, no, I haven't yet. I've not had a chance to watch the Globe Kabbalah. Greetings to everyone, Spake Face, everyone, greetings. Okay, let me see. And the subject of today's, the main subject of today's video, which is gyroscopes, was handed to me on a platter by one of my subscribers. Unfortunately, I've forgotten the name and I haven't gone back to check because I've been juggling a whole series of things. Now, you know how some narcissists will say, never apologize, never explain. Well, no, sometimes apologize and sometimes explain. Anyway, and it hit me, it dawned on me. That's why sometimes I forget to mention things or to bring extra things in that I meant to bring in, because I'm thinking 8 different thoughts. You know, the brain is supposed to be able to keep track of 7 at any one time, and when the 8th comes, one of the 7 drops. That's not true. My mind can handle 9 at least. It's at one point it was 12, but that was using a trick. But entirely different concepts. 9. So I'm going to screen share this video, and by the way, I'm saying that in order to explain why it is that I can't recall who it was, and I'm not sure that they'd want to be named. If you're listening and you wouldn't mind being named, I will name you in the very next one. Okay, I'm screen sharing this by Celtic67. I'm going to play this. I'm going to turn the volume up after the very first part, which is very it's well done, but the audio is very distracting. So here we go. And unfortunately, I can't make this large to full screen. My cursor for this window, for some reason, is not working. It's working on the others to expand the screen. But you'll be able to keep up with what's being said, what's being described. Actually, I'm going to go over that again, and I'm going to read it out loud, just in case it's not showing well enough through the stream. There's some word salad there from Mr. Word Salad. And I'm going to do it without audio. There is a group on task lurking around the shape of the earth. Question. They are profiting from the gullible, undiscerning, naive, over truthful truth seekers. And, I must add, that's abusive. It's taking advantage of people. This band of deceivers are on both sides of a false dichotomy, perpetuating that the singular world is up for debate. It is not up for debate. The truth is out. Now it's a case of determining exactly how the nonsense was constructed, which is what yours truly is doing, and how the truth actually pans out, the actual truth, separate from the truth of how the nonsense was constructed, what the actual truth of the matter is, which is also something that I'm engaged in, but many other flat earthers, I guess, actually, I don't know because I don't see much. But anyway, They're in cahoots with one another and in steady contact. Timmy Osman, a boy who plays porn in front of children, that still moods, he always says he didn't, for all we know it was Oakley, is heavily promoting a chemtrail sunburn new round table where he perpetuates that objective reality is up for debate. No, it isn't up for debate. The goal for the on-task lick spittles is to confuse and disempower any discerning individual. They will attack honest platforms with weak, loaded, baseless assertions that can't be substantiated. Character assassinations and smear campaigns will ensue and be directed at anyone who asks relevant, well-articulated comments. Now I'm going to play the audio because they do speak. So anybody with well-articulated comments or questions, we're not having that. Your intellect would be attacked for merely questioning the affirmative claim. On the other side of the debate, you will be vilified for asking relevant questions about people's intent. In fact, according to a scumbag, as he prefers to go by, if you even dare ask a woman a question, you're a woman hater and bully. Which, I might add, is the epitome of sexism. Women are different. You should treat them very different. They're almost like children. They're above questioning now.
Hold on, Polly, one sec. Listen.
So here we go. Volume. I love the shoddy, dreadful dyed hair, by the way, love. That's a crap job. Maybe get some streaks of slightly different colour so it doesn't make you look like such a ghoul.
I'm not gone live this morning to go back and forth with Celtic 67 about an account being blocked.
Did she just say Celtic 67? Oh, okay.
It's blocked. This is why my apologies. Can I just finish, guys? If it's blocked, my apologies. But here, what we're not going to do, we're not going to spend another 10 seconds talking about this. Mate, your account will be in the chat room next time round. We're not going to go back and forth with this, yeah? Move on, proceed to the route, interact in the chat room.
But if you come back and carry on asking questions, we'll ban you again.
Not going there. Not going there. So I'm going to say this one more time because I'm going to have to fight.
This person is saying not going there. Whatever it is that was being addressed by Celtic 67, not going there. Not going there.
Word on this, guys. Okay, Celtic has specifically asked, all the while you censored my main account. Why? Like, this is the last time I'm going to do this, right? And now I'm not going to entertain it. Right? I won't get to get what I'm after till the day I die. I was joking. If it isn't, the next time you'll be in on your main account. Job done, innit? Move on. Proceed to the route. I've said this about 3 times a race.
Proceed to the route. Roger that.
Time now, and everyone else is in the chat room. So one more time, and it was the Uber for Celtic. If you were in my house right now,
Celtic? I think you mean Celtic.
I'd have asked you to leave. So you're in my house. It's my chat room. You're in my house.
Why are the media obsessed with you?
Carry on, and you'll be getting an Uber.
Maybe because she doesn't know the difference between how to actually pronounce the word Celtic, you know, so the people who are educating go, oh God, some delusional person who thinks they're intelligent. Oh, poor flat earthers. Let's paint them all in that colour.
Yeah? So,
Robin, Ranty, Roxanne, Dolly, a few questions. What is the plan with your calls for unity? Who exactly are the leaders, directors you're aligned with? Why have you willfully refused to address your foundational assumption that the objective world is somehow up for debate? I can offer one reason. It's not the only one, but it is one of the reasons. Money, that's why. Why am I blocked from all of your platforms for simply asking you what your intent is? What I'm after till the day I die.
Right, so I've just done my first ever banning from Celtic 67.
Oh, another person who says Celtic. No questions allowed. Why do I keep saying Celtic? Wait, let me close that window so it won't be quite so jumbled. Why do I keep saying Celtic, huh? Let's look at how you pronounce Celtic.
Celtic.
Oh, again?
Celtic.
And if you're American, how would you pronounce it?
Celtic.
Oh, let's say it again in English.
Celtic.
Oh, right. Who are these Celtics? Is it the Celts? Yes, it's the Celts. The Celts were a collection of tribes with origins in Central Europe that shared a similar language, religious beliefs, traditions, and cultures. It's believed that the Celtic culture started to evolve as early as 12,000 BC. Most of this is written by people who aren't Celts, who don't really know, and they're reporting what some Celts have told them about their heritage and their history. The ones that managed to remember some of the stuff that wasn't killed by the Catholics, you know, that wasn't destroyed. Anyway, here you go. You can go and look this up. You have Celts in Spain. That's right, you have Celts in Spain. The Galatians, which became the Galicians. Galicia in Spain. Okay, let's keep looking. The Britons, the Celtic languages, the Celtic religion, Celtic design, and sources. Right, wonderful. Okay, so Galicia in Spain is called after the tribe, the Celts. But because the mainstream don't really know history very much, they have to concoct a little bit of a story and say, well, kind of, we think maybe, possibly, don't know. Now, let me close that all together. I wonder if Celtic 67's in the chat. Celtic 67. Now, I'm going to say this to some people. If you do a lot of swearing, sometimes you will be banned by people who object to the swearing because they'll see just abuse and they'll just assume that it's somebody abusive and close-it. I'm not saying that that's what happened with Celtic, but I think that I had to unban Celtic. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, wait, here I am. Not entirely sure. I think I recall that, but I'm not sure. If so, one of the wrenches was bad. Now, on with the story. Let me see. 64 viewing. Oh, people. Right, let's see. Is it this one? Yes, it is. 1 second. And then this one. And go on to the other one. Right. Yes. Right. Let me screen share. This one, okay. Give me a second. We're going to visit our friend Wolfie6020. He's such a smashing fella. Now, not that he's confused, not that he understands the term trade secrets or anything like that. Okay, we're going to watch this video. We're going to listen carefully to what he says. Then we're going to check to see if that's right.
Just a quick video in relation to this.
Oh, that's not how he normally starts his videos. Normally he starts, so I was This one, just a quick video. Panic stations. So, just a quick video.
I see on YouTube that shows a flight done by Max Egan from Santiago in Chile to Sydney, Australia. And he had a small compass on board and claimed that it didn't move throughout the whole flight. Now,
no, he did not claim that at all. He claimed that it showed various different directions, and then it stayed at one direction for a long time, for the rest of the time that he was awake. That's what he said. Not that it didn't move for the entire flight.
First thing I noticed straight away when I watched this video is the proximity of the compass to the metal.
You mean the plastic? Do you mean the plastic, Wolfie? You see, those trays on the planes, they're made of plastic. I mean, let's face it, it's an aircraft. Plastic is pretty rigid. That's all you need it to be, pretty rigid. Okay, you don't need to use metal, which is going to be heavier than the plastic. That would be a dumbass thing to do. But he knows that his viewers aren't really aware of this. He can get away with saying it's metal. Hey, Dim Dim, can you see this part here? Can you see how this part of the metal is closer? Well, it would be pointing here then, wouldn't it? It wouldn't point here and avoid the magnetic attraction here, would it, you Dim Dim?
In the actual, whether it's the tray table or the side of the airline seat, I don't know. But look how close the metal is to it. Now,
the white thing. Look how close the white thing is to it. That white thing must be metal.
obviously, anyone who thinks this is actually an anomaly has no idea that a standard magnetic compass will also point to the nearest metal. So,
so you see, people who use compasses, they don't know that. They just don't know.
Proximity of the metal in that table completely.
And notice how it's not actually pointing to the metal at its closest point. No, it's pointing at a different, but never mind.
Overrides any legitimacy of the compass, and it's also inside a metal aircraft fuselage.
Oh, it's inside a metal aircraft fuselage, and compasses are attracted to metals. So it must mean all metals, including the metal of the fuselage, even though there's a whole series of metals that are not magnetic and don't have any magnetic attraction, do not engage with magnets at all. And aluminium is one of those. And airplane fuselage is made of aluminium. That's right.
So you're not going to get good reliability anyway.
So that's why we don't use compasses on planes. But they do.
Demonstrate that. This is a little hiking.
Now, let me create a straw man so that I can demonstrate that what I was saying was right. I was pointing at plastic, claiming it was metal, and I have made out like aluminium is magnetic, but never mind.
That I purchased recently, and you'll see if I lift it off the table, it points in one direction. I put it down on the table. Notice how it changed. Now, if I move it around the table, it's pointing in completely different directions.
That's
and
right.
If I was on an aeroplane and it just stayed pointing in one direction, the reason for that is because it's actually pointing to metal.
But you see, the straw man, Max Egan did not say it didn't move from one direction. That's what these guys do. Wolfie 6020, Where's Wally, Critical Think, Bobby Shafto, Bob the Science Guy. This is what they do. They pretend like something's been said or done, and then address that thing that they've pretended has been said or done, which is literally a straw man argument.
Table.
Oh, look, there's metal on this table.
Metal, and inside the actual frame of the drawer, you probably can't see it there, but there's metal as well. So any metal within a distance of several inches is going to drastically affect the accuracy of a compass.
Any metal? No, aluminium isn't going to affect a compass. Why lie, Wolfie? Any metal, neither will gold for that matter. Why lie to your public, Wolfie?
See that? So it completely invalidates any of the findings by the
It doesn't. He just wishes it to. He's in panic mode in this video, by the way.
that he's got his compass sitting literally inches away from metal, and who knows what's underneath that. There's probably more metal.
He's saying, he's pointing near this metal, it's white. All he knows is that it's white. You know, because maybe it's metal that they then made a little bit heavier by painting it white, you know? Or maybe it's just white plastic. And there's probably, on this white plastic tray, there's probably metal underneath too. There's probably metal everywhere. Magnetic metals, not just any metal, like metals that interfere with the compass. Didn't interfere earlier on in the flight, but interfere continuously later.
In the frame itself, so absolutely ridiculous. The other thing that is worth noting, and this is also a cause for a lot of confusion with people, is
this is brilliant. This is one of the points I'm going to go over today.
we look at a flight like that from Santiago to Sydney. The flight route appears curved. You see it curves down towards the south and then curves back up to the north. Now, people often wonder, well, why can't I feel the aeroplane turning? Why can't I actually see it turning? Okay. The truth is, because this map is quite deceptive. This is a two-dimensional map, and it's trying to depict a flight path that is actually realistic on a three-dimensional Earth. It distorts the flight path because what the aircraft is actually flying is what's called a Great Circle route. And I've plotted that on...
That's what it's actually flying. He's now going to show what it's actually flying.
Earth Pro. You'll see that when you actually visualize it correctly in 3 dimensions, it's a straight.
Notice it's south of New Zealand. Again, notice it's south of New Zealand, not north of the bottom of New Zealand, not north of the North Island, which Max Egan said when you go from Sydney to Santiago, you can see the North Island out of your right window. Oh dear.
Right. Okay, we're flying from Santiago, Chile, up to Sydney. We're flying a straight line, so the plane is not turning at all.
No, you're flying a curved line, only it's curved downwards, isn't it? It's curved downwards and well, downwards and sideways a tiny bit, isn't it? That's not a straight line. You know, you can't. I'll show you how that's not a straight line, okay?
Now, the aircraft is flying straight, but to the pilots on board, the compass direction is actually changing. And the
wait, but don't they have metal things in the cockpit?
reason it's changing is because as we're flying this straight line, the perspective and the orientation of our flight track in relation to the lines of longitude is actually changing. Okay, so that is what...
Magnetism is not dictated by the lines of longitude, it's dictated by the magnetic field. The isogonal lines, not lines of longitude.
Our apparent direction is changing, yet the aeroplane's flying in a straight line. I know it doesn't sound intuitive and it could be a little bit complicated, but it's not. It's just based
or it's false.
Three-dimensional geometry. And I've also got a professional...
Oh, look at this. This is professional.
...app that I use, and I've put in Sydney and Santiago there. You'll see, once again, when you view that flight route directly from above, it's a straight line, okay? You can orientate that globe in any direction, and it might look like a curve, okay? It's going to look...
That's an interestingly small Antarctica, but never mind, we know they have a problem with Antarctica.
...curve in either direction, depending on how you orientate. But if you are looking...
Look, see again, the route south of New Zealand. I'm saying this emphatically for a reason.
...directly above the route, it's a straight line. And that's how we fly. That's the shortest distance between 2 points on the Earth is actually a straight line called a Great Circle. That's what it looks like.
Did you hear? It's a straight line that's called a circle.
On the globe. It only looks confusing when you look at it on a two-dimensional map.
You could have just turned the globe round and it would have looked curved too. You didn't need to go to this, but never mind.
The aircraft flight path display inside the cabin of the aircraft uses a two-dimensional map, and that's why the flight path looks curved. But as you can see, we're actually flying straight. It's not that hard to understand once you put your head into three-dimensional mode and visualize it on the globe.
And Santa Claus is real. Now, let me close that. Qantas flight FLA-27, Boeing 747-400, Sydney to Santiago over Invercargill, New Zealand, 22nd of July 2015. It's not really over Invercargill. We don't know how far the guy has zoomed on his camera, but we can determine by the plane's angle that we're about to see that it's at some distance from Invercargill, north of Invercargill, not south. Watch. Can we all conclude that the plane is flying left to right and that to the right is Santiago, not Sydney? Okay, to the right is Santiago because it's going to Santiago, but it's north of Invercargill. I can't zoom in on this, by the way. I will paste a link in the chat in case people can zoom in. You can determine the angle, and by the angle, you can kind of very vaguely determine the elevation, or if you're very good at math, geometry, you'll be able to determine pretty closely the elevation. The distance and then the elevation. From the plane's angle, the wings, what angle it's at. Okay, that's not south, Wolfie. That plane must be lost. Let me close that. Now let me screen share something else. Not this yet. No, not this. Something else. Just let me get it right. Yes. Where is it? Yes, here. Let's share this. Because that plane must be lost. Because it's supposed to be south on the Great Circle route. Isn't it, Wolfie? But it wasn't south, was it? I mean, if it's south, then it's going the wrong way. Do you get it? It's just going the wrong way, dude. Must be lost. But let's watch this video also from Wolfie from today or yesterday.
Back in 2017, I posted this video titled 100% Global ADS-B Aircraft Tracking is Coming Soon. And this was in response to claims made by flat earthers regarding flights in the Southern Hemisphere.
You see, again, south of Invercargill, not north of Invercargill. Oh, because Invercargill is right at the very bottom tip of New Zealand.
Specifically, flights like Qantas 27, which operates non-stop between Sydney, Australia and Santiago, Chile.
I don't think you're using the word non-stop properly. I mean, do they parachute out and then kind of zip line in somehow? Or does it stop because like it lands and stops? But no, it's non-stop.
We have a number of free tracking sites available, FlightAware being one of them. And as the flat earthers point out, the aircraft is not tracked for the entire route. Once it is...
That's right. This route is hypothetical. This is what it would do if it was a globe.
More than
but we've seen from the guy who was in Invercargill, that's not the route they take. And we here, I've spent hours looking for the video. I can't find it. Jeronism got rid of it. I had a copy of it from my channel that was killed, and I don't find it in the catalog, in the folder that was sent to me on a flash drive by somebody who managed to save a load of my videos from my previous channel. But in that video, Max Egan says, when you're flying from Sydney to Santiago, you see the North Island out of your right window. And he actually points and looks to his right. He's speaking in the airport after having landed.
100 miles from land, the tracking drops off on these websites. And because of that, they believe something...
By the way, that would place a plane around here, which matches with this guy watching from here filming with a very good zoom, the plane around here.
Is going on in the middle of the ocean. But what the flat earthers fail to understand is that the reason the aircraft cannot be tracked in the middle of the ocean
is because it's a globe.
Because they rely on a technology known as ADS-B. And back in 2017, that was primarily based on ground-based receivers. Let's have a look at the ADS-B video on the Air Services Australia.
No, let's not look at their video. Let's look at this. Let's jump past the video to the next part.
So anyone can purchase a simple ADS-B receiver like this Stratus 2S,
Ooh,
which also has a built-in GPS and a backup attitude heading reference system.
brilliant.
You can see as I roll the device left and right, pitch up and down, the corresponding attitude indication.
Oh, so when you're flying, it must the horizon must roll up on this, right? Because as far as this goes, it's well, it's going down, round. You know, Great Circle Route, straight round line is going round, right?
On the artificial horizon
On
in
a
the
sphere.
ForeFlight app. Removing that part of the display, we now have a map with a series of icons depicting the aircraft in the area. And by clicking on any of those icons, we see additional information. There is Virgin Australia. The aircraft is heading 013
I bet you can find Santa Claus around Christmas time on this.
degrees with a speed of 258 knots and currently showing an altitude of 14,975 feet. We can click on a different aircraft. And this is Qantas Airways heading 171 degrees with a speed of 355 knots.
Wait. What? Let's look at those speeds again. 355 knots at 13,000 feet. What was the other one? 14,000 feet. That's higher, less density. Wait, was it? Wait. Just
Indication on the artificial horizon, that part of the
here,
display.
let's see.
We now have a map with a series of icons depicting the aircraft in the area. And by clicking on any of those icons, we see additional information. There is Virgin Australia. The aircraft is heading 013 degrees with
258 knots. Got
a
it.
speed of 258 knots and currently showing an altitude of 14,975 feet.
All right, so 14,000, so 15,000 feet.
We can click on a different aircraft. And this is Qantas Airways heading 17.
Interesting. Let me just go back. Sorry, folks, because I hadn't spotted this earlier. 250 knots, higher.
And this is.
And 350 knots, lower. That's interesting. That's very peculiar, Wolfie. Can you explain that? How something flying in air with less density can go slower? You see, this one's going faster than the other one. Let me go back, just make sure I haven't made an error.
We can click on a different aircraft.
Dagnabbit.
013 degree.
200, no, I haven't made an error. 258 knots at a higher altitude. 258 knots versus 300. 365 knots. That's interesting, Wolfie.
With a speed of 355 knots.
Hmm.
You can see the data is coming from 1090 ADS-B, and as I said, is coming directly from each aircraft to this ADS-B receiver.
Wonderful.
Now, I got my pilot's license in the early 80s, and obviously at that time we didn't have technologies such as ADS-B. In fact, most of Australia did not even have radar coverage. So on
We used to have to wear blindfolds and everything.
a long trip between Perth and Sydney, we would have to make a number of position reports by voice over the radio. And the position report would notify ATC of our time at a specific waypoint, our cruising altitude, and our estimate for the next waypoint. And we might have to do a dozen position reports in a 4-hour flight to Sydney. With the advent of radar and later ADS-B, those position reports are no longer required because the aircraft is providing them electronically to ATC. So we've been operating with ADS-B in Australia for many years, and when the aircraft is within line of sight of a ground-based receiving station, it works well.
For many years they had this, but it wasn't available to the public. It's only now that they're struggling with the Globe that they made it available to the public. That's interesting. Many years it's been around.
However, operating over the oceans, beyond line of sight, you lose that capability. And that is the reason why these aircraft on the non-stop southern routes are not able to be tracked on programs such as FlightAware. They move beyond the line of sight capability of the ADS-B system, and therefore they are no longer being tracked.
Oh,
But in 2009,
line of sight. How far did you say this? They were tracked. Line of sight. I think you might have done a little boo-boo there. Didn't you explain much earlier? A couple of 100 miles, or 100, I don't know how many miles. I'll go and have a look.
in addition to the ground-based ADS-B receiving stations, we now have space-based ADS-B, where a series of satellites each have an ADS-B receiver. And that
Now, I wonder if this Arian has trade secrets. Or maybe they just don't have any trade secrets whatsoever.
provides us with 100% global flight tracking. If you go to the FlightAware website,
We will.
the ADS-B tab, and scroll down to Arion space-based ADS-B, you can see more information about the system, including a video describing how it works.
Oh.
So obviously this is very bad news for flat earthers, particularly those trying to claim that the One More Orbit flight did not go over the South Pole. If you go to the FlightAware site, click on the coverage map, and then go to data coverage, what you see are the various different feeds that provide the aircraft tracking. If you click on this link, Arion space-based ADS-B only, we will see the tracks obtained by the satellites. And if you zoom in, you can see this aircraft operating from Mauritius, going...
We'll zoom in because he avoided something there, but let's carry on.
Directly south until it hits the bottom of the map. Now remember, this is a Mercator style projection, so the entire bottom of the map is a single point at the South Pole.
Oh, there's Santa Claus. Oh, no, sorry.
And there it is, all the way to the South Pole.
Oh, that's a different route than the one planned. And the one shown on your website, on your video, and their website and all of that.
So it was accurately tracked with the...
It was just not accurately planned. Is that it, Wolfie?
On space-based ADS-B system.
Remember, Wolfie, it's shown on a Mercator map. They would have just shown a line straight down and then a line straight up, right? But they didn't. On a Mercator map, they showed it curving round, didn't it? Didn't it, really?
The map. Now, if we scroll out, go across to South America, we can see the aircraft coming up from the bottom of the map.
That's Santa Claus. You can't see very well, by the way.
Directly north.
Very far away from their planned route that they published. Very far away. In fact, they did a completely different route to the one that they said they were going to do.
And landing in Punta Arenas.
Oh.
So on the FlightAware website...
Wait, we'll go over this. No, we'll go over this later.
We see that the Arion space-based ADS-B system did in fact confirm that the One More Orbit aircraft flew over the South Pole.
And that's all you need for confirmation. Just a website with 2 lines. That's all you need.
So I'll post a link to this site in the description below, but remember it is a weekly summary, so the One More Orbit track will likely disappear within a few days. Please check it out before it does, and remember after that, the site will continue to display the non-stop flights in the Southern Hemisphere, such as QF
And a whole bunch of other flights.
27 and QF63, which is Sydney to Johannesburg.
Ooh.
So again, this Arion space-based ADS-B tracking is yet another nail in the coffin for flat Earth. I think
It's not. It's about as bad as the PR woman saying that they would have looked terrible if it wasn't for you guys blocking flat earthers.
More nails than coffin at this stage.
Very funny. It's very good. Okay, let's close that. Here's that site. You see, here's that site. We're going to look. Let's see. Here's Mauritius. We're going to zoom in. There it is. Can you see it there? Wait a second. What's this over here? Is it lightning? Is it a plane that's just got lost? I mean, what is this? Where did it take off, Wolfie? What was it doing? What was this plane doing? Let's see if there are any more planes doing crazy things like that. Oh, no, look, look. It looks like it went like that. To here and then that way. Or came this way. And then, around the... What is this? Not very, it's very strange tracking. Let's zoom out a little bit. Slowly. Oh, it's disappeared. It's been replaced with some other crazy lightning here. What's this, Wolfie? Doesn't look like very precise tracking. Let's zoom in. Oh, look. Good heavens. I'm not changing dates or anything. Just, oh my gosh. Look, if you do this. Lightning. So let's go over this way and look at the here. Let's zoom in. There it is. Oh, look. People just flying around in circles around here. Well, people have the right to fly around in circles if they want around, you know, the Falklands. Oh, that plane. Oh, what happened? What happened? Oh, there. It just hadn't finished. It hadn't finished. Oh, no, it's gone again. Oh, my good Lord. I mean, Wolfie just showed this and showed that you could zoom in, and I'm just zooming in. Look, see, zoomed in. Oh, there's the lightning in squirrely noodles. Oh, so it looks like zooming in was one of the functions that was like programmed into this, but somehow it goes all kind of weird. Now let's look at these flights that go round this way to Santiago. I don't see any that go from Sydney south around the Great Circle route, which will be here. I don't see any. Let's zoom in more. No, I don't see any that go here. Maybe this is supposed to be it. Let's follow that. Let's see where that goes. Let's go. Carry on. Carry on. Oh, it didn't reach Antarctica. Let's see. So no, didn't reach Antarctica. And let's go and carry on and carry on. Oh, they go there. Right. Let's see. Let's go back. Back all the way back. Oh, right. You see. Oh, so it does. So the plane that this guy filmed from Invercargill, it was lost. That's all it was. It was just lost. It was supposed to be on this route, but it wasn't. It was in some more northern route. Oh, dear Wolfie, your desperate ploys, your globe's desperate ploys are unraveling before your very eyes. I mean, I've zoomed out and you can still see the spaghetti noodles here. What is that, Wolfie? Let's look. Good heavens, look at that. I mean, really, look at that. Can you see these two lines, these two straight lines? They're supposed to be, well, flight routes. And sure, we can't see the elevation, but surely this is kind of dangerous to do on this kind of flight routes. You know, go out and do these crazy maneuvers. What is that? Is that a fighter plane? Should you be showing fighter plane maneuvers on a website for plane tracking? You'd have thought that they wouldn't, right? Because, like, you know, war and stuff. Good heavens, how things go wrong for you. So now we'll close that. Let's see what this is. I've forgotten. Oh, right. Okay, this. Oh, let me just take a little break. I'm going to go and make a coffee. I'll be back shortly. Let me see. Everybody with wrenches. Blissful Zombie has a wrench. Behave, everyone with wrenches, please. Orphan Red, nice to see you there. Yes. Now, guys, I am going to go and have a make a coffee. Okay. I'm getting quite thirsty, and I will then play the entirety of this video. It's 35 minutes long, 36 minutes long, but it's a very good video explaining the IRS. Now, the IRS, that's the gyros on the plane. So we're going to hear this pilot explaining how what they do is when they're going to take off, they switch on the gyro and ask the gyro to tell them their latitude and longitude, because that's what the gyro does, right? It registers the motion at its latitude and longitude, obviously, but at its latitude, it registers the motion so it can determine where it is on the globe Earth. So then it just tells the computer to input those coordinates. That's marvelous. We'll see that in a minute. But before then, I'm going to go and make a coffee. So have fun in the chat, folks. I won't play the no, I won't play the Trailer Park music again. Just enjoy. Oh, yes. Sorry. I just found that I still had a little left. Okay, while the kettle boils, I will come back and join you. Good heavens, that spaghetti noodle flight and those lightning flights, they're just fascinating, aren't they? Let me see what this other one is. Oh no, I know what it is. That's okay. We're also going to see some errors. I will divert for a brief time and then come straight back to this video. So I will show this video, divert to the misplacement of New Zealand, and then bring it back to this video, okay? In fact, I tell you what, I will go now. I will do it now while the kettle boils. Look, see this? This is the declination between, well, Australia and New Zealand. Cook arrived in New Zealand from this direction. Can you see? From this direction, he arrived in New Zealand. Actually, here, okay? Now, if you look at the very bottom, you'll see that the declination is 12 degrees east of north. But they didn't know about magnetic declination back then. Do you understand? They did not know about magnetic declination back then. Which means if they thought they were going east, but their compass was pointing away from east. Their compass was pointing, well, 12 degrees east. Can you see? They were pointing 12 degrees east of north, and they thought they were sailing southeast. That's what happened. So they placed New Zealand here. Do you get it? I'll go over it when I've got my coffee. Just a second. This is a great site, by the way. I'm going to paste it in the chat. So give me a second. All I've done is take it back to the year that Cook got there. 1760, what was it? 1769, yeah. Right, copy. And I'm going to go to the chat and paste the link there. Paste. Okay, I'm back. So back to this. Oh, did I paste the link? Yeah, I did. Okay. Save that link, guys. It's good to use. Do one more espresso for you, Supreme Architect. If you were here, I would. Well, I wouldn't because I don't have an espresso maker. But I would make you a coffee, that's for sure. Okay, let's go back over here. See what this means. 12 degrees east back then. And this is obviously, they didn't have any of these records. All of this is guessed. Okay, all of this. Listen, they didn't start compiling records for magnetic declination until the early 1800s. All of this is guess, and it took them a long time to figure out what was happening, and then even longer to figure out how to plot it on the globe, and then even longer to figure out how to reverse it. Like they can guess where it was. They can't really guess where it was. They can guess where there are certain formations in the north, but that doesn't tell you how the field lines are running. It doesn't tell you that at all. But there are guesses like, oh no, the topography under the ocean, it tells you directions of lava flow and whatnot. It's like, yes, but it doesn't tell you when. It really doesn't tell you when. You have to make a very good guess because all of organic matter there keeps changing. So, oh dear, it's a problem. Okay, so this is projected to be 12 degrees east. So north would be directly up. West would be up and to the left. And east would be up and to the right. So 12 degrees off means that your compass will be pointing 12 degrees off north. So 12 degrees off to the right. So if you're traveling 12 degrees off to the right and you're traveling southeast, well, then you'd arrive here. Okay? That's what you'd do if you knew that you were traveling southeast. If you knew about magnetic declination. But it didn't. So what they did was they back engineered the magnetic declination to correlate with what their logs said. That's all it is. In reality, New Zealand is not here. In reality, New Zealand is here. That's right, folks. I'm going to have to change it on my map, but it's not an emergency. Okay, so, but never mind that. Let's go back to this. Now, we're going to listen to this fella. He goes to great lengths to explain how the IRS, you switch it on and it senses, it takes about 6 minutes to sense the rotation of the Earth, and by determining the vectors, knows where it is on the surface of the Earth, latitude and longitude, and then, well, tells the plane, I'm at this latitude or longitude.
This video is going to be about inertial reference system alignment process. So in this airplane we have several different navigations disabled and the VORs are disabled. We're going to focus on just one IRS number 3, so we'll turn that one on now. And it's going to enter its alignment process. And right away, we're going to get a message saying that the IRS has not had a position entry.
What?
So,
what do you mean it's not had a position entry? Why would it need a position entry? If you've got a fiber optic gyro, why would you need to tell it where you are? I mean, doesn't the gyro know where you are? Based on, like, the vectors it's following around the curve of the Earth? Well, that's funny. Well, let's continue.
Inertial reference system consists of 3 laser gyros, and The purpose of the laser gyros are to sense rotation. So there's one that senses rotation around the yaw axis, one that senses rotation around the pitch axis, and one that senses rotation around the roll axis. And it also has 3 accelerometers, and each one of the accelerometers is sensing acceleration along each of those axes that the laser gyros are sensing the rotation around.
Okay, then why don't the laser gyros automatically tell you where you are on Earth? If that's the case, why don't the laser gyros automatically tell you where you are on Earth?
So the way that the system works is once it knows its initial position, it takes the information from the accelerometers and from the laser gyros to determine.
Not really. Not really. It sounds like there's a trade secret involved here, but we'll see.
To determine what has changed. So it's sensing an overall acceleration in 3-dimensional space, and it's sensing our overall change in orientation in 3-dimensional space, and adding those changes to the initial position so that it can get our current orientation and our current position. And it does this.
Wait. That sounds a bit word salady. If it knows by checking the various sensors and the interference patterns, if it knows the motion, then it knows the location. Why would it need to know the location first?
Completely as a self-contained unit. So it doesn't, unlike GPS, which requires signals to come to us from outside the airplane, unlike VOR.
Wait. Listen, he just said it's a completely separate unit. No, you're a unit putting figures in. Listen.
Our current position. And it does this completely as a self-contained unit. So it doesn't, unlike GPS, which requires signals to come to us from outside the airplane, unlike VOR, which requires radio signals to come to us from the ground, and DME, which also requires radio signals to come from the ground. The IRS is determining its position completely within itself.
Not really. Not really. Not if you're having to tell it where it is. Not very good if it doesn't. If it can't tell you where it is.
One thing it does need to know is where have we started. It needs to know the initial position, and it needs to know our initial orientation. In
other words, he just said it's independent of other things that might tell it stuff like where it is. But it does need to know like where it is. So we have to tell it where it is.
So part of what it's doing here in this alignment process is it's trying to determine where our sort of null point is, or it's measuring the direction to true north, and it's measuring our latitude, and it's doing that by sensing the rotation, the movement of the airplane. Now,
so it's figuring out the heading of the plane, where the nose is pointing, and the location of the plane. That's what he just said. It's figuring it out. Okay, then just be patient, dude. Be patient. It'll figure it out sooner or later, I'm sure.
Right now, the parking brake is on, and that's important when we're aligning the IRS. The IRS needs to be stationary in relation to the ground so that any motion that it's sensing, it will be able to attribute to the rotation of the Earth.
Oh, is that what it is? Then if it's sensing the rotation of the Earth and the vectors associated with its location on that surface of that Earth, why is it not telling you where you are? Instead, you have to tell it where it is. Huh?
So if you imagine the airplane sitting on the equator facing east.
Now, engage in some imagination. You know, imagine that this is Santa Claus. So carry on.
Over time, if you were standing away from the Earth looking down at it, the airplane would be making a rotation.
If his hand was Santa Claus's sledge, this is what Santa Claus's sledge would be doing.
This along the equator, which would equate to a change in pitch attitude. So the IRS would be able to sense that.
You see what I said earlier, Wolfie, about the pitch attitude? See? That's what your device should show you, shouldn't it? It should show you that, it's changing its attitude. Never mind. Oh, it knows it's on a sphere. No, it doesn't. It's not a conscious thing.
Time as a pitch down. If the airplane was facing north on the equator over time, it would sense that as a roll to the right. And because of the fact that we aren't moving in relation to the ground, it will know that those rotation changes are attributed solely to the rotation of the planet.
Apart from it, it's not saying anything at all about any rotation whatsoever. Nothing. It's not going to say anything until we tell it where it is.
And by sensing that, it'll be able to determine the direction to true north and therefore our heading in relation to true north. And it'll also be...
It's almost like this. If you had a mechanical gyroscope and you were spinning it and you weren't going anywhere, it wouldn't show you any motion. Did you hear that? If you had a mechanical gyroscope, lovely, great, excellently engineered, and you weren't moving, the gyroscope, well, it wouldn't show you that you're moving. It would show you nothing. The IRS thing, IRS is it? Yes, IRS. It's showing you the same thing as the gyro, which is nothing, no motion. There's no motion going on. Sorry. Yeah, that's right. There's no motion going on. You're not rotating around anything. That's why it can't tell you where you are. You have to tell it where it is. And that's only because of a trade secret to make you guys think you're on a globe.
To determine what our latitude is, so our angle relative to the equator. Again,
He just said it's figuring out where our latitude is. Okay, if so, let it input the latitude. Just go ahead, let it do that.
we have to tell it what our initial position is,
right.
so that it can build on that initial position once it's finished its alignment.
Right, you have to tell it where it is. Oh, okay. Oh, well, that's inconvenient.
Normally that is done by the GPS units. Normally, when we power the airplane up, all these navigation sensors will be powered. I've intentionally depowered them for the purpose of the demonstration. So normally the GPS will automatically feed the initial position to the IRS, and when the alignment process is complete, as the IRS gets ready to go into its navigation mode, it will compare what it has calculated for a latitude to what it's been fed by the GPS and see if there's a reasonable agreement in order for it.
This poor sap thinks that if you switch off the GPS, that's it. The world is blind to your plane. You know, the security services, it's blind to your plane.
Continue its operation. Now, since it's not going to get it from the GPS, it's going to wait for us to supply it manually. And the way I'm going to do that,
Instead of figuring it out, you know, based on the vectors, it has to wait.
is by giving the FMS a position. And the FMS is our flight management system, and what the FMS does is it takes all the information from the different nav sensors and it decides on its own what is the most reliable nav sensor that's available to it. Normally that would be the GPS, and then it calculates what direction we need to travel and how much distance we're going to need to travel to get from where we are now to where we want to be.
No, the gyroscope doesn't do any of that at all. But let's continue.
So as you can see, the FMS position is not initialized. The airplane does not know where it is, and that's why this navigation map is centered in the middle of France, because that's a
Why doesn't it know where it is? Don't you have a gyro that's fired up? You know, that's got the lights going round the fiber optics. Why doesn't it know where it is?
default position for when the FMS is not initialized. Now we know where we are because we have a handheld GPS location here that's being fed to the iPad. You can see the Bad Elf is connected, and we are here.
That's his
In the
glitches, by the way.
northeast corner of the Washington Dulles Airport.
It does say not sure what happened to the audio. Dulles Airport.
Right here and over here, this is the hangar complex for the Dulles Jet Center. See,
Which you can see over there. Wonderful.
so I'm going to give the IRS an initial position now, but I'm going to lie to it for the purpose of the demonstration. I'm going to give it the correct latitude.
Now, just a
I'm going
second.
to give it an
You see, just a sec. You didn't realize this.
Corner of the Washington Dulles here.
Watch. This is a map, and it's based on vertical, so that would be longitudes that go up. It's not skewed, okay? According to this, he's pointing north, and right in front of his plane are the hangars. But, well, watch. Here's his plane, pointing north, and right in front of him are the hangars to the north.
Right here and over here, this is the hangar complex for the Dulles Jet Center.
Let's see if he looks straight ahead out of the window. Oh no, he's looking over to the left. Wait a second. Why is that not? What? Why is that not to the north, like on the map?
Over there. So I'm going to give the IRS an initial position now, but I'm going to light.
I mean, I might be mistaken. He might be heading east. He might be pointing to the east. He could be. He could be. In which case, they're still out of place. They should be all the way over. Do you get me? He can't be at 45 degrees if he's heading either north or east. No chance.
For the purpose of the demonstration, I'm going to give it the correct latitude, but I'm going to give it an incorrect longitude. I'm going to tell it that we're over the Pacific somewhere, but at this latitude. So we'll enter north 3857.35 and west 134 degrees. We'll apply that to the IRS, FMS, but since the GPS position isn't available right now, it's also going to be applied to the IRS.
The audio is his
And
problem,
you
by
can
the
see
way.
immediately the FMS has moved the navigation display over to the Pacific where I've entered the position. And the fault from our IRS saying that that position, we have a IRS 3 position entry fault. Now, the reason for that is the IRS is comparing the position that we just gave it to the position that it last recalled at the end of the last flight.
Now what he's saying is, the reason it's showing a fault, even though it's the same vectors, because it's on the same longitude, latitude line, okay? So same vectors, it should be experiencing the same direction of turn. But he's saying the reason it's showing a fault is because it remembers where we landed. I'll paste a video. I will paste the video in the chat so you can listen to it yourself, because the audio is very poor in this section. Basically saying it doesn't know, it's saying fault because it remembers where we landed. Give me a second. Here comes the link. So you'll have to scroll up because it will have been a couple of minutes ago from the time when you heard this. There's the link. Okay.
Difference. So it's just giving us a warning that something doesn't make sense.
He said it's just giving us a warning that something doesn't make sense.
Now, of course, there could be a valid reason for there to be such a big difference. For example, if we were flying along and we have an electrical malfunction and we lose power to one of the IRSs and then we continue flying for another 1,000 miles or so, we land, we get a mechanic to come out to the airplane, the mechanic fixes the IRS. When we restart the airplane, that IRS obviously is not going to be in the same position as its last confirmed position during the flight. It could be 1,000 miles away, it could be 2,000 miles away. So there has to be a way for us to override that mismatch. So it's going to do the mismatch calculation, and if there's a problem, it will alert us. But it'll still give us the opportunity to override that warning. And all we have to do to override it is enter the same position again.
Now, here's how the trade secret works. If you input the same latitude, so if you input the same latitude, different longitude, it's going to be the same vectors. It's going to say, yeah, that's all right. That's it. Sum total of the secret of how this works.
I'm saying, yes, I understand that the position I just entered doesn't match where you remember us last being located, but I'm confident that the position I just entered is correct. So I'll enter it again. And we can see that the position entry fault message has disappeared. So the IRS is accepted now. Okay, since you entered it twice, I'm gonna let that slide.
Or, since I know where we are because of the secret links to the sat-nav system, you know, the GPS, since I know where I am, then you're telling me that I'm somewhere else on the same latitude. In case you want to show this to the public, I say, yeah, sure, that's fine. Same latitude, that's fine.
Now, normally over here on the primary flight display, this display is powered by IRS number 1 normally, or it's fed by information from IRS number 1. And as I said before, the IRS is measuring our orientation and our position. So our orientation includes our attitude, our pitch, and our bank. It's measuring our position in 3-dimensional space, so it's able to tell us what our vertical speed is. It's also part of our orientation is what our heading is. It's also measuring our acceleration when we're on the ground, our linear acceleration. So all this is flagged at the moment because this is all being driven by IRS 1, and IRS 1 at the moment is not powered. So what we'll do is we'll switch this display to IRS 3, and you'll see the indication here.
Ooh, it's
And
got
now we can
orange.
see we have our attitude indication, we have our pitch and our bank indication, we have our vertical speed indication, our acceleration has come into view, and our heading has come into view. I'm going to change this display so that it's showing the heading in relation to true north. So it's now
Oh,
telling us.
that's a problem. Look, can you see how north? You know when he showed the map, no, I won't scroll back, but when he showed the map and where he was and showed the hangars, he looked at 45 degrees-ish, not 90 degrees. Well, it turns out that those hangars are 90 degrees to where he is. According to what his instrumentation is telling him, the real world is saying, no, not really, it's like 45 degrees, okay? But the instrumentation is saying, oh no, it's over there.
True north is this way, and we are facing 093 degrees in relation to true north, and you can see the indication there. Over here on this primary display, this one is normally powered by IRS 2, which is also not powered at the moment, so we'll switch this one to IRS 3, and we'll get that indication here. And because IRS 3 is working, we have our attitude, our vertical speed, our acceleration, and our heading. This one will leave showing the magnetic heading. So you can see here that that is showing heading in relation to magnetic north. And we can see that it's not the same as what's shown on the left-hand side. So we have a magnetic heading of 077, and we have a true heading of 093. And we also have a secondary display, and this is an emergency instrument that shows our attitude and also shows our heading. This shows 105. That's quite different from what's showing here on the left for a true 093 and what's showing here on the right for 077. The reason for that is this magnetic heading is being measured by a magnetometer in the airplane. So this instrument is actually measuring the magnetic field.
That's a compass.
That's being generated around the Earth, and it's displaying our magnetic heading because it's measuring our magnetic heading. This instrument over here is displaying a magnetic heading, but it's not able to measure the magnetic heading. The IRS doesn't have the capability of measuring magnetic heading. It only has the ability of measuring true heading, because of course the Earth is rotating around the axis that passes through the true North Pole and the true South Pole.
Did you hear that?
When it sits in the alignment process and is measuring that rotation, it's measuring the rotation relative to true north, and that's how it's able to indicate.
No. The magnetism doesn't alter because you're rotating. The magnetism is almost velcroed to the Earth, and it moves very, very slowly. It doesn't alter because you're rotating. What he just said is absolutely false. I'm going to play it again. Paying attention, Wolfie. So 758.
True heading, because of course the Earth is rotating around the axis that passes through the true North Pole and the true South Pole. So when it sits in the alignment process and is measuring that rotation, it's measuring the rotation relative to true north, and that's how it's able to indicate our heading relative to true north, because that's what it's actually measuring.
Wow. Wow. The levels of brainwashing, never mind.
The heading that's displayed over here by the IRS, the magnetic heading, is actually a calculated heading that's based on the measured true heading and the declination for the location.
Watch.
So declination is the angle between the direction to true north and the direction to magnetic north. So this is an example of a chart that shows...
No. It's the direction of the field, not true north or magnetic north. I showed this earlier in previous videos. It doesn't point to the north magnetic pole in any way, shape, or form. It points in the way that the magnetic field lines happen to point where you are.
Some isogonic lines, which are lines that have points along this line have the same magnetic declination. So anywhere along this blue line that's marked 10 degrees west, if we stand at any point and face true north, the direction to magnetic north will be 10 degrees to the west of true north.
That's right.
Over here, we have this 15-degree east isogonic line. This means that anywhere along this line, if we face true north, the direction to magnetic north will be 15 degrees to the east of true north. So the IRS has an internal database of these declinations around the world, and because we told the airplane that we were here in the Pacific, it is pulling up from its database a declination that's somewhere in the neighborhood of 16 or 17 degrees east.
16 or 17 degrees east. Let's look at when that video was posted. It was posted in 2018. Let's go to the magnetic declination map. Go to 2018. Oh, it might have to refresh. Just give me a second. Mm. 2018. 2018. Okay. Now let's look at the field lines where he was pointing. Wait for the map to actually resolve. Okay. So here's, I'm going to zoom in. He's told the plane that he's around here. Let's look at what that field line is. What that isogonal line is. Oh, it's not letting me. Let me refresh. Just bear with me, folks. You see, when you have belief and you think that that belief is based on true things, then you're not going to question that belief. If you look and check and it turns out, oh, that's not a true belief, then the thing to do is drop it because, well, it's false. Now, that's what all flat earthers have done. That's what all realists have done. The problem with the globelings is they can't let go of the idea that Santa Claus is real. Okay. So he's here. This is where he says that he is. That's 14 degrees east. What did he say it was? Oh, the screen's very big. Let's listen.
The IRS has an internal database of these declinations around the world, And because we told the airplane that we were here in the Pacific, it is pulling up from its database a declination that's somewhere in the neighborhood of 16 or 17 degrees.
Oh dear, that's 3 degrees off. That's pretty significant for very sensitive instrumentation. There's a problem with that. I'm sure the gyro will fix it.
East. So it knows that true north is here, and it is pulling up from its database the information that magnetic north is about 16 degrees east of true north. So our magnetic heading will be measured from...
Except that we just looked at the map and it's actually 14.
Magnetic north is to where the airplane is facing, so it's going to be 93 degrees minus the declination at this point, and that's why we're ending up with 77 degrees here for the magnetic heading. This is not the correct heading for our actual location. The actual heading here, magnetic heading, is closer to this 105. So what we're going to do is reset the IRS.
Wow, the actual heading is 105. In which case, you have an even bigger problem with where you showed the hangars to be. Sorry, dude, your maps are kind of wrong.
No. And you see, immediately we lose our attitude indication, we lose our heading indication. It's giving us a warning that the IRS has failed. We're going to turn it back on again. Immediately we get our attitude back because the three accelerometers, as the airplane is sitting still, are able to detect which way is down. And based on the direction of down, it's able to determine what our pitch attitude is and what our bank attitude is while the airplane is sitting still. And once the airplane...
No, that's not true. All of the devices know is that it's not moving. That's it.
To move, of course, the movement of the airplane, whether it's turning or accelerating or decelerating, is going to have an effect on the accelerometers that will give a false indication of pitch and bank. So once the airplane begins to move, it's going to blend the information from the laser gyros that are measuring our rotation around the pitch, roll, and yaw axis.
The laser gyros that are supposed to be determining where you are, but can't. They have no way of determining where you are, even though that's exactly what they should be able to do. That would be them factoring in the apparent drift and determining what that apparent drift is indicating your location to be.
To give us an accurate representation of our attitude. So once again, we've repowered the IRS. It's begun its alignment process. This is telling us it has 5 minutes and 30 seconds left to align. It hasn't received an initial position yet. And again, it needs that initial position to do its job. Normally that'll come from GPS, but because the GPS is unpowered.
In other words, it doesn't know anything unless we tell it something. It's a device that should tell us stuff, but it doesn't.
And give it its initial position.
Not unless we're moving.
So this time I'm going to tell it the true position. I'm going to tell it that we are at this location, and we can see what will happen with the heading, the true heading, and the mag heading. So we are north 38, 57.34 degrees, west 77, oops, 077, 26.45 degrees. We'll apply this. The FMS will take the map to our current position at the Dulles Airport. It still doesn't know the heading because the IRS needs to finish its alignment in order to...
The heading is which way the nose is pointed.
Determine the heading. But you can see that there's no position fault this time as we had the first time, because the position that I entered, it matches reasonably closely to the one that it remembers from the last time it went flying. So there's nothing really left to do until it finishes its alignment. So we'll just speed up the video here until the alignment's complete.
Now, while this is going on, the instructions are telling the IRS we're heading this way. Where are those instructions coming from? A whole bunch of other stuff, including the magnetometer.
Okay, alignment is complete. Let's enter the navigation mode. So now we have our heading. Again, our true heading, 093, is exactly the same as it was in the previous test. But over here, the magnetic heading that the IRS is displaying is quite different than it was previously. On the previous test, it was showing 077, but now it's showing 103, which is much closer to the magnetic heading that our magnetometer is measuring and showing on the secondary flight display.
Oh dear, that's a problem. If the magnetometer is showing 2 degrees difference, but the most sensitive of all the instrumentation is the fiber optic gyro and the MEMS, why aren't they showing the same?
Of course, the airplane hasn't moved at all. We are still in
Can you see how these are supposed to be to his north? That would be all the way to his left, not at 45 degrees.
location near the Dulles Jet Center, facing exactly the same direction. That's why we have exactly the same true heading, because that's what was measured by the IRS. The airplane hasn't moved, so it makes sense that the true heading is exactly the same. That's what's being...
It's almost like maps are skewed. That's right. They are, by the way. Maps are skewed.
measured. The magnetic heading, however, has changed on this instrument. The magnetic...
Oh, this is getting a bit tedious now. Okay. So that I don't get accused of cherry picking, I will move further ahead, jump a couple of times to what he's trying to show. He moves the plane to a different longitude. He's already shown moving it to a different longitude and how it says, yeah, that's fair enough, as long as we're at the same latitude. And then he moves to a different latitude. Wait.
Correct angle. So what if we said we are at 38 degrees, 57 minutes, but instead of saying north, we say south. So we're going to put it on a latitude circle that has the same circumference as the correct latitude circle, but in the wrong hemisphere. Let's see.
In other words, if we tell it we're on a different latitude, forget that it's the same figure, it's just different latitude, like north and south are not the same latitude. So if we tell it we're at a different latitude, it says, nope. That's basically what this is. It says, no, sorry, no.
What handles that? So we're going to say south, 38 degrees, 57 minutes, and 0.34, and west, 07726.47, which is the correct longitude. We're going to apply this, and we'll immediately see the map shift to South America when the FMS takes up this new position. We'll immediately see an IRS-3 position entry fault. Now, this again is the entry fault because it's comparing what we just entered to what it has stored in memory for its last known position at the end of the last flight. So again, we'll try to override that warning because, as we said, the engineers recognize that there could be very valid reasons for there to be a mismatch.
That's to say, because the trade secret says, just do stuff that will try to confirm the globe in the mind of these poor brainwashed pilots. Not all pilots are brainwashed. The guy who passed me this is a pilot.
And they've allowed us to override it by simply entering it twice.
I think, yeah.
We're going to apply that. And we see the position entry fault has gone away.
Oh, wait a second. Well, let's carry on.
This is a different position entry fault than the one that happened in the previous example, the second time around. So the first time we have a position entry fault because the position we just entered doesn't match where it thinks we were the last time we finished flying. But it's still trying to figure out its latitude right now. It's still calculating its latitude and it's still calculating its direction relative to true north. So we'll speed up the video to get through the alignment process and see what happens.
He's speeding up.
So here we are, the alignment process is complete. But again, it's giving us an IRS 3-position entry fault because now that it's finished measuring the latitude for itself, it's comparing that latitude to what we've entered. And even though we've entered the same angle that it's sensing, because it's in the wrong hemisphere, it knows that that is not quite correct. So this
In other words, if you tell it you're on the same latitude and it has the same vectors, you're going to say, yeah, fair enough. If first they say, are you sure? You go, yes, I'm sure. It goes, oh, okay, fair enough. Because that confirms the globe. But if you tell it you're at a different latitude, it says, no, you're not. Oh, could that be a trade secret? Could it? I mean, that is what the globe tells you they should do. But you see, the problem with the globe is, with the globe, you should be able to switch on the IRS and have the IRS tell you your heading and your location. Not you tell it, it tell you. Just like if a mechanical gyroscope really did show apparent drift, as long as you understood what it's showing, you'd be able to calculate your location just from looking at the gyroscope drifting.
different from just comparing its current entry here to what it's remembering from where it was when it got shut down. Because as we've seen before with the longitude entry, you can easily override that because there is a good reason.
The reason is it confirms the globe. That's the reason. So there you go. That really is the reason, folks. If not, they would just simply turn on the IRS and the IRS would input the data that you have to manually put in. No, it would do it. It would say, this is your location. On the spherical Earth, this is your location right now. And you're not moving. And when you start moving, it'll say, you're moving this way, you're moving that way. So let me close this. And this, which was a problem because, actually, it's just a problem. It's a problem because it was given the wrong magnetic orientation. But never mind that. It's all a series of excuses. The previous Hangout that I held that ended, it didn't even tell me it was streaming. It just finished. Oh, that's interesting. That I'd called Globe Problems, Globe Excuses, sorry. I deleted it because there's nothing to see. Elliot Hall, you pass some interesting stuff, you do. I don't know what that is much. Let's see. Oh, no, I won't open it because they're going to completely distract me or sidetrack me. Instead, I'm going to go, before I move on to eclipses, you see, there are a number of Spanish language channels. Somehow, I haven't heard any of them addressing the eclipse, which was a huge problem for the globe, a massive problem for the globe. More of a problem than the August 21st eclipse in the US. A much bigger problem, but never mind that. Right, so first we're going to go back to Wolfie, and we're going to look at how the programming works for these poor saps. You see, he made a video explaining how manuals, pilot manuals, something, and he flicks through, and you can see how, despite not needing all kinds of information, like the Earth is a sphere and molten core and they have that information there. So just bear with me. By the way, I do have a couple of pilots who communicate with me. Very interesting stuff. Just very interesting. One of them drew a he drew something in his cockpit. But anyway, right. Give me a second. And I'll screen share so you don't have to look at my face whilst I'm doing it. I'm going to go into Wolfie's channel. Poor Wolfie. Poor Wolfie. Have you plotted the route on the globe yet, Wolfie? Huh? Have you plotted it on the globe yet? Where is it? Which one is it? That's this one. This one to the side. Yeah. This one. Yes. Oh dear. The poor sod. Isn't it interesting that this, if the plane was on the ground, the horizon would be where this is, but the plane flies at 3 degrees. So the nose is up 3 degrees as it's flying. And this is, well, 3 degrees. That's interesting. Right, now, let me go and search in his thing for this video that he made about manuals. Is it this? Maybe. Let's see. I'm not sure. He goes to an airport shop that sells, well, pilot manuals and things. Let me mute it. Let's see if this is the one. No, I don't think. No, this is not the one. This one where he actually goes. Oh, yeah, this is the one. Okay, here we are. Okay. So this is his pilot manual. I'm just going to play some of it.
By projecting.
Look at the amount of brainwashing. See all these flat planes? These flat planes are around a sphere. You see these flat planes? Yeah, well, they're around a sphere. Let's play his audio.
One of the most common types of projections used in aeronautical charts is the Lambert's conformal.
Look at that. All these flat planes. All of these flat planes, that's right.
Projection. And here is one example of an aviation chart, the VNC Perth, which is a visual...
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, let's go here where he actually drives. Not that you're obsessed with proving your theory, not your theory, your belief.
Let's go inside and have a look.
Wolfie, Wolfie, Wolfie. You see, most sensible globe pilots who were absolutely convinced that it was a globe and that the flat earthers had absolutely nothing, they were just silly flat earthers. That's what they would do. Look. Look. Oh, let me make it larger. Oh, it's not letting me on this page. Shape and size. Do you need to know the shape and size to fly? Huh? And it rotates. Oh, but it has no effect whatsoever on planes that fly south. They don't. No, never mind that. When they fly south, they're flying south along with the curving of the Earth, and they're accelerating along with the ground. Because you see, they take off from here. The ground is moving at a certain rate. As they move down, the ground is increasingly moving faster and faster. Okay, to the equator. And this way, they, without having to accelerate or anything, they accelerate. And then when they fly this way, they just naturally decelerate. That's right. Oh, what are these?
Ensure the military will also learn about the Model 47's talents. Bell's Model 47D, the first helicopter mass-produced for military use, was developed in 19...
Oh, it finished. Wait, I wanted to show, I think it was his own manual, that had all this globe.
Are produced
Look,
projections from a globe.
look, all of this programming, globe. So we fly over a flat plane. We fly over a flat plane, but it's over a spherical Earth. And you have straight, see, this. You don't need any of this for flying. Good heavens. Like you really don't. Okay, but look at the programming. So if you don't learn this, then you don't get your pilot's license. So you must learn this and repeat it for your tests. Look at that. Look, all of this programming. Good heavens. Do you see where your programming came from, Wolfie? Look, here. Oh, Coriolis. Which somehow doesn't happen really on the plane, but never mind that. We'll tell you that it does. Let's see. I want to get back to the one that it was. This one. This one. Oh, this one. See? This is showing. Well, you take off here. If you took off from the North Pole, let's say there was a. What's it called? Let me pause it just right. Oh, there. Okay. Let's say there's an aircraft carrier right at the North Pole. That's rotating once a day, not very fast. Okay. The ground is moving, not very fast. When you land here, the ground is moving at 1,000 miles an hour. Somehow, as you've traveled, something has caused you to accelerate sideways in a tangent to your heading. Well, magically just accelerate to land here in another carrier. And then when you take off from here and go this way, you decelerate. That's right, to land, well, at 0 meters an hour, a lot less. Interesting, isn't it? Isn't it interesting? It's almost like magic. Look at all of this programming. Look, look, including, and this is his flight manual. That, the molten iron core. Let me move frame by frame. There. What's this about? That's not true. I mean, it's scientifically demonstrably not true. But you have to learn it, don't you? Huh? Good Lord, Wolfie. No wonder you're so lost. Oh, anyway, right. So that's Wolfie done with. Let's close this. Now let's go here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to expand the window. No, it's not letting me expand the window. I want you to pay attention. This is now about the eclipse in South America, mainly in Chile and Argentina. That's not been really covered or touched or mentioned or discussed by the flat earthers in Chile and Argentina, strangely. It's like, don't you actually bother actually looking at the world? Is it all just books and thinking? Just books and thinking. No actual looking? Huh, that's interesting. So I want you to pay attention to this woman. Wait, let me stop screen sharing so that you can see, in case any of you don't know. In studios, in new studios, whatever studios, when they're going to go live, this is what they do, okay? They get told, okay, we're going live in in so many minutes, there's a countdown, okay, 10 seconds. And then 4 seconds in, or 5 seconds in, the floor manager or the clipper, one of the guys, goes 5, 4. That's what they do. Okay, sorry. No. They go 4, 3. That's what they do. 4, 3. Now this woman is like this. She's waiting like this for the, and then goes, so we're she's actually waiting like this to give the impression, you know, like when I've jokingly started going, it's so good. It's to manipulate people. Okay, like now we're going to this thing. So I say that because this way it seems like they're just, you know, nonchalantly discussing things. They're not nonchalantly discussing things. It's all planned. So you're going to hear this woman realize, because they're not all half-wits, realize that there's a problem. You'll hear it in her voice. I'm going to translate and I will point out when it happens because it's in Spanish, okay? She's talking about the eclipse. She says that the eclipse is happening now, and then she says when the eclipse was predicted to be happening, and there's a problem. It's like, so she starts waffling on about time zones in Mexico and Punta Arenas versus mainland Chile. That's right, you'll see. And then we'll look into the eclipse. So here we go, volume. Oh, dagnabbit, I'm gonna have to refresh. Right, pause, volume, rewind. Now bear in mind, this is how she's waiting. She's not halfway through a motion here, okay? Volume, watch.
Estamos de regreso a las 3 en estos momentos. El eclipse total de sol está en su punto máximo.
We're back live on 3 or at 3. That could be channel 3. I don't know. Well, yeah, because she says the time later. We're back live on 3 or at 3. So at channel 3.
Aquí le mostramos estas imágenes que son realmente asombrosas. Espera que
Here we're showing these live images that are absolutely amazing.
el tiempo que la luna oculta el sol sea 4 minutos y 32 segundos. Este fenómeno
The sun will be hidden by the moon for 4 minutes and 32 seconds.
recorre el Pacífico Sur y parte de Sudamérica, por lo que miles de personas lo están logrando ver en estos momentos en Chile y parte de Argentina.
This eclipse will make its way across the South Pacific and South America. And people in Chile are seeing this right now.
El único de su tipo que se podrá ver en este año 2019.
It's the only eclipse, a total eclipse, that will be seen in this year. It's true. The next one, which is 2016, and I will discuss this, by the way, not 2016, 26th of December. Apologies for that. This year, on the 26th of December, there's going to be an eclipse, and I will discuss it so that you guys can then afterwards point people to the video, to this video. Okay?
El eclipse total está previsto para el 14 de diciembre del año 2020 y ya le...
The next total solar eclipse, because the one that will happen in 26th of December is an annular eclipse. The next full eclipse will be in the year 2020. In other words, next year. She could have just said next year.
Ya, pues justo en estos minutos es cuando está dándose este eclipse total que comenzó a eso de las 3:38 de la tarde.
And right now is when we're seeing this total eclipse that started at 3:38 this evening, this afternoon, sorry. Let me rewind, make sure I didn't misspeak or mistranslate.
Que comenzó a eso de las 3:38 de la tarde.
That started at 3:38 in the afternoon.
Y está considerado que su punto máximo ocurriera a las 4:40 de la tarde, horario.
And was the full eclipse was supposed to happen at 3:40, 4:40. That's literally what she says. I'm going to translate it, rewind, because she's noticed the error.
Es 4:40 de la tarde, horario de Chile, 4:40 de la tarde, horario.
So she was going to say 3:40, but changed to 4:40. Listen. 4:40.
Que su punto máximo ocurriera a las 4:40 de la tarde, horario
She just realized it was predicted to happen at 3:40, not 3:38.
Chile, 3:40, horario de
It was supposed to happen at 3:40 Chile time. Swallow.
México. De manera parcial, le digo, se puede ver en algunas partes de Chile, en Argentina,
And in other areas, you can see a partial eclipse.
en Ecuador, en Perú, en Bolivia, en Paraguay, Uruguay, partes de Colombia, de Brasil, de Venezuela y de Panamá. 3:38 minutos hora de Chile, que tiene una hora más.
We're now at 3:38 Chile time. 3:38 hora Chile. Listen. So why hasn't Iru picked up on this? Iru Landucci or any of the other guys? Why haven't you highlighted this?
38 minutos hora de Chile, que tiene 3:38 minutos hora de Chile, que tiene
3:38 minutes Chile time. We've seen that it's just happened. It was predicted to happen at 3:40. Oh, but they're ever so exact, aren't they?
una hora más en esta parte donde más se puede apreciar el eclipse. Chile tiene dos usos.
Now she's waffling because she's realized. She's remembered that she said it was predicted to happen at 3:40, 4:40 for the other region of Chile, that Punta Arenas region. I've just said the time now, and we've just seen it. 3:38, not 3:40. So she's now waffling about the different time zones in Chile.
Uno es una hora antes que la Ciudad de México.
One of the time zones is 1 hour before Mexico.
Otro es una hora después, la hora del centro.
One is 1 hour later.
México, pues.
The time for Central Mexico. That's what she's saying. She's waffling because she's realized she's done a gaffe.
Y el eclipse total comenzó 3:38 minutos.
And the total eclipse started at 3:38.
Total se llevará a cabo en estos momentos, a las 4 de la tarde con 40 minutos, horario de Chile. Aquí está.
4:40 is when it will be total solar eclipse. At 4:40. Listen, because she's switching time so that people don't catch up. Instead of saying 3:40, which is their time, she's saying 4:40, the time for the other place, Punta Arenas. Listen.
A cabo en estos momentos, a las.
That has just happened. That's what she just said. It's just happened in these moments.
4 de la tarde con 40 minutos, horario de Chile. Aquí estamos, pues son las 3:42 de la tarde. El tiempo.
And now we are, people, 3:42 in the afternoon. She said, not only a couple of seconds ago, that it was 3:38.
Que se pueda ver así, que prácticamente se oculte de manera total, como ya casi lo podemos ver aquí en la pantalla.
Now she's saying that's when we'll be able to see it at the total eclipse. She is word salading. She's not noticing, and she's saying, and that's when it will be. Listen, for the Spanish speakers.
De manera total, como ya casi lo podemos ver aquí en la pantalla.
Which is when it will get to the total eclipse, which we can almost see now on the screen. She doesn't realize this has already happened. It's already afterwards. It's now moving up.
De qué lugar se ubiquen quienes lo están observando.
It all depends on where you are, the time and whatnot, but she's waffling because she has seen on the screen that it has just happened here. She's seen, and now she's saying, which we're about to see next couple of minutes, but we can see it's just finished. I mean, it's finished being the total eclipse.
Dependiendo de qué lugar se ubiquen quienes lo están.
But of course, in case you've caught this, it all depends on where you are, really. It all depends on where you are.
Observando, pero pues lo máximo que va a estar oculto el sol es 4 minutos y 32 segundos.
But the most it will be occulted will be 4 minutes and 32 seconds. You know, for those that haven't quite seen it yet, for the ones that haven't reached totality yet, for those guys it will be 4 minutes and 32 seconds.
El máximo se producirá a unos 1000 kilómetros de la isla chilena de Pascua.
The maximus, so the most amount of time that it will be eclipsed will be about 1,000 miles away from Easter Island. Yeah, you know where nobody lives? There, that's not Easter Island, people live it. No, 1,000 miles away from Easter Island. Farther to the west, that's where it will have this thing that we're telling you that you can't verify.
Ahí es en donde este eclipse total de sol, el único del 2019, porque le digo que el próximo va a ser ya hasta diciembre 14 del año 2020, el único es este que se está produciendo justo en estos minutos, y aquí tenemos.
And she's now saying, she switched, she was saying that 1,000 miles away further west than Easter Island, that's where you'll be seeing it the most. It will be the most, until what I was saying, and this is what she does. She switches over to talking about the next eclipse, the following year, on the 14th of December, the next eclipse. And we're seeing these people live now enjoying the total eclipse. It's like, no, you can see, look.
Imágenes justo de la gente.
We're seeing these images now of those people live. They just cut to this. These people are in the shade of a building. The sun was low. It was 3:40 in the afternoon for these guys. They're in the shade of a building. They're not under an eclipse and that's illuminated over there. The eclipse has happened already. So they showed this briefly and they quickly show it. Dude, stop it.
Produciendo justo en estos minutos, y aquí tenemos.
Now they're seeing it, which is the totality, which is happening just in these minutes. And these people are seeing it? No, they've seen it already. That's why they're packing up.
Imágenes justo de la gente observando este fenómeno que desgraciadamente pues ahora no nos tocó en el hemisferio norte, solamente en el Pacífico.
This, which now happened it didn't touch the north, only the south,
y en
the Pacific.
El sur del continente americano. Así en estos momentos es
only in the south of the American continent. Right now, at these moments,
eclipse, de acuerdo con la NASA, este fenómeno ocurre cuando la luna.
Oh, now she's saying, and this happens because the moon hides the sun.
Sombra sobre la Tierra y hace un bloqueo total o parcial de la luz del sol. Y pues ocurre cada 18 meses.
And these happen every 18 months. That's right. Every 18 months.
Así este eclipse en estos momentos.
Now, let me close that. 3:40 predicted to happen. It happened at 3:38. Oh, that's a problem for them, okay? But it was predicted to happen at 3:40, right? That's what she said, and that's what they were predicting. Now, let me come back to this first. We'll go, wait for this to load, here. Now watch, this is before the eclipse. Watch, this is from an explanatorium. Eclipse total de sol, total solar eclipse. Live from, oh, it just jumped. Right. So really, I am questioning more and more the legitimacy of some of the Spanish Channel flat earthers. Like, really. Let me refresh so we can watch this little video. remember, it happened, the solar eclipse happened at 3 in Chile, at 3:38 in mainland Chile, which was 4:38 or so in Punta Arenas, okay, because of the time difference. Right, now watch. Okay, I think it's done. Oh, come on. And I have been curious as to why this hasn't been discussed. I mean, who's been discussing this? This happened this month. So watch. Live from Chile. The 2nd of July of 2019. 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. PDT. Oh no! Even if you're looking at PDT as being this time from Mexico, which is shared with Punta Arenas, that was 4:40, not 2 p.m. So if you were to join these guys between 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. PDT, you'd then have to, well, go somewhere else to actually see it, because they would have wrapped up an hour and 40 minutes before it actually happened. Because if you add an hour to this, it's 3. And according to PDT, it was 4:40 when it happened. Are you with me, guys? Are you hearing? So let me quit that. Where was I going? Let's see. Now we're going to look at the eclipse as predicted by time and date. My old friends, time and date. We're going to see how the eclipse was predicted to traverse across the face of the sun. Oh, it's going to come down from the top left limb of the sun, hide the sun for 4 minutes and 32 seconds, and then leave. Oh, look, leave. Well, the opposite of how it entered. Is due to do this curve. Huh. See? Come down, curve, and go up. We're going to watch real video of how it happened. We just watched it, you know, from the newscaster, but they didn't show it very well. Huh. So, look, let me just grab this. See the left being illuminated? Do you remember in the video that we just showed how it was the bottom that was illuminated? Well, let me stop sharing this and share an actual video of the eclipse. Here it is, look. Here. Not here. Now, somebody did mention recently to me that somebody said the eclipse came in one way and went out the way it had come in. And I thought, really? From where? So I've been looking for videos, can't find them. Now this is the full thing. The full thing from start to finish happened. So look, I'm going to jump ahead, okay? Here, okay? And now I'm going to jump ahead some more. And there you go, it's happened. Okay? Bottom, you can say, oh, there's a Cheshire smile. Here. Oh, that's not what the graphic showed for time and date. Huh. Well, that's peculiar. It's almost like time and date got it wrong. Huh. That's interesting. No amount of telescope twisting can justify the graphic for time and date. None. So now, quit that. Now, let me see the other one. This one. Look, this is Invercargill or Invercargill, however it is that you say it. In New Zealand, this is where the guy filmed the plane moving left to right to his north, not to his south, like the magic tracker that Wolfie's pushing on people says. You see, the magic tracker, we looked at it and we saw that it tracks the flight this way. I mean, I made quite a song and dance about it. This way. But the guy filmed it north, in some direction north. Huh, peculiar. Now, I'm going to go to London. London. Look, right there, right in the centre of London. Wonderful. Let's pan out. And what I'm about to show, it's got nothing to do with panning in or out, okay? I'm just showing, well, what it does, okay? You tell it to go to London, it goes to London, okay? Here's London as well. This is the other one. This is Mooncalc. Okay. Now, let's go to Mooncalc and let's go to Japan. Let's go to Tokyo. Good heavens. It thinks Tokyo is farther away than it actually is. And it's actually telling you here at the bottom, the latitude and longitude. Did you see that? Well, that's peculiar, isn't it? Let's pan out a bit. Huh. It's almost like, for some reason, this continent here should be larger so that Tokyo is, well, here. You know, like on my map. So let's go to, let's just write Chile. Let's see what happens if you just write Chile. Country of Chile. Oh, look, that's peculiar. It's almost like, look, can you see how on my map, this is skewed to the west? Look at where it thinks, look at where it thinks Chile is. Huh, that's interesting. Now let's go to Cape Town. Oh, look, it's found Cape Town, no problem. Maybe it's because we specifically said Cape Town. So instead, let's say South Africa. Let's see what happens if we say South Africa. South Africa. Country, South Africa. Let's see what it does. Oh, oh dear. Oh dear. Oopsies. It's almost like South Africa's a little bit more to the east. A bit like on my map, fellas. Now, that's just very interesting. And it's dropping it to latitudes and longitudes. Don't forget, it's not just dropping it anywhere willy-nilly. Let's ask for Sydney. No, let's ask for Australia. Let's see what happens. I haven't checked this. Australia, country. Ah, okay, at least it knows where Australia is. Let's see. There, right slap bang in the middle of Australia. Very good. Let's go to Japan again. Country, Japan. Oh, just missed. Very good though. Good try. Look. Let's zoom in. Oh, just missed. Let's go to Tokyo. Maybe it will figure it out now. Tokyo. Oh, it just loses it. Good heavens. Like, what's happening? It's almost like it's got a rough guess, just a rough guess of where Japan might be, and a much rougher guess of where Tokyo is. Now let's say Santiago de Chile. Wait, let me make it a bit simpler. I'll tell you what. De Chile. Well, it's only giving me these options. Never mind, let's see. Ah, right, look. If you tell it notable cities, sometimes it takes you right there, right to the notable cities. Somehow, if you ask it for the country where those notable cities are, it's like, don't know really. Let's see what happens if we go for England. England. Yeah, middle of England. Let's go for Spain. Oh, it doesn't really know where Spain is. Now let's go for Madrid. It's almost like Spain is farther away. It thinks it's dropping this in the center of Spain. Oh dear. Now, if you tell it Madrid, it will just move. It will move the map to the coordinate. That's what it will do. That's so interesting. Why is everything going wrong for the globe? And this is just a moon thing. Why is everything going wrong for the globe? Come on. They tried to do this orbit of the Earth. It went really wrong. They needed so much moderating so that they didn't look terrible. Wolfie brings this new device that's supposed to show the tracking, that you have to go through various different steps to find the place where you can actually track that flight. That shows all kinds of crazy lightning flights. That's interesting. But also, he's already made a video about how they fly the Great Circle route. And the tracking that special tracker shows is the Great Circle route. But the evidence shows they don't go on the Great Circle route. Like, not unless New Zealand is even farther south. So what is it? What's going wrong with the globe? Now, China has this thing. You know how Trump is wrestling with China? China has this thing where if you want to run your business in China, like you have a business in America and you want to open a branch in China, whatever it is that you want to do, be it engineering, whatever. China says, sure, you can come here, but you have to tell us all of your trade secrets. Did you hear that? China has this rule where if you want to work there, you have to show all your trade secrets, which is why China has kicked out some of the pharmaceutical companies because they had to show the trade secrets. And it's like, wait a second, you mean to say you tested this stuff and it doesn't work, but you're still selling it? We're not interested in you. That's right, China. Now, separate from that, Do you think that they don't have trade secrets? Do you think that the globe is not a trade? Like, take away the globe and NASA goes away. And a whole series of other things go away, including the sanity of many people. It goes away. So the globe has trade secrets. Those trade secrets say, you're going to use this kind of device, do this. We're not going to tell you the ins and outs, but just do this to use this device. And if people say, hey, why can't I use this device, like press a button, switch it on, let it figure out where it is, and have it tell the plane where it is? Why doesn't that happen? Now, before I go, I'm going to, because I'm going to wrap up. Before I go, I'm going to show one more time the reason that Timmy Osman banned me from his channel. See, he banned me twice. First on my original channel, and then issued a copyright strike, and then my channel was deleted. But then with this channel, I went in there one time, into his Hangout, and said, hey, can I play a video? Yeah, sure. And I played a video that I'm going to play now. So give me a second while I find it. From the manufacturers of the fiber optic gyros, explaining that when they are idle, that means they're on, but not being moved. So on, that's idle. When your engine is idle, it's ticking over, but you're not giving it any revs, you know. Like idle, that's what idle means, okay? When it's idle, it doesn't show any motion. So, 1 second. I've just seen a, here it is. I've just seen a video that Orphan Red, I've just seen a thumbnail that Orphan Red put up of something we worked together on, and it's really cool. Give me a second. I'm going to play all of it. Oh, sorry, yeah, I will play all of it, actually. This is 2 minutes, that's okay. We want to listen, we're going to listen to all of it, but we want to hear the end, mainly. Towards the end that they explain. And this is the kind of thing that Wolfie can't handle, and that Tim Osman can't handle, and that, is it Chris Van Mitra, the guy with the gyroscope? Guys in the chat, please let me know who the Globebusters guy is with the gyroscope. Oh no, it's Seventh Day Truth Seeker or something like that. Somebody in the chat, please let me know the guy, the name of the guy. Because I might have said Chris Van Mitra and it might not be him. But the point is, I'm looking in the chat, by the way, just for a while. Well, you can see because I'm screen sharing. The point is, this guy, the infamous fiber optic gyro that behind the curve exposed Bob Nodell as having said it was showing curvature. Let's see. No, not yet. That guy. People are still not saying Antonio. Old Moon Vid. Am I right? Oh, that's interesting. I'm gonna open that. I don't watch Globebusters either. I mean, they're not doing anything. They're literally not doing anything. It's like Iru and Jaren have teamed up, and now they're doing that. Anyway, so none of you remember the guy. I think he's called Seventh Day Truth Seeker or something like that. The guy with the fiber optic gyro. Okay. Funnily enough, he can't figure out how to make a video and show the whole thing, like whether or not he's giving it any coordinates or anything. He can't, somehow, he can't figure out, he can operate a gyroscope, but he can't figure out Seventh-day Truth Seeker. Yes. Somehow he can't figure out how to make a video that doesn't still leave questions. It's interesting. Now, here's the video I was going to share. This is the video I shared on Tim Osman's Hangout. He then booted me and pulled that Hangout. So here you go.
Fiber optic gyros. Even though the name sounds complicated, the concept behind them is not that hard to understand. Hi, Chris Kelly here for KVH Industries, and today I'm going to take you on a guided tour behind the scenes here at their manufacturing facility in Chicago. We're going to take a good long look at how these fiber optic gyros work and how they're made.
By the way, I contacted KVH to speak to one of their technicians. Do you think they let me speak to one of their technicians? No, they didn't. And I called several times and used, because they have several different numbers, by the way, and used various different approaches. No, sorry, you can't. I mean, they didn't say that. They said, what's it regarding? And I said, it's regarding some specific details about the fiber optic gyro. Oh, I heard somebody in the background saying, that's a flat earth. Not really, I didn't. But no, they didn't actually have any real answers.
Essentially, a gyroscope is a device that measures angular rotation so it can detect changes along one axis of an object's spatial orientation. For example, if there were 3 gyros aboard this plane, they could measure the angle of pitch as the plane climbs, the angle of roll as the plane leans into a turn, and the angle of yaw as the plane's heading changes as it turns.
Now, the difference between this fiber optic gyro, which would be one gyro, what he just described, and now he's saying if there were 3 paired in different angles to each other. Well, the difference between that device and a mechanical gyroscope is that the mechanical gyroscope, if it's a 3 gimbal gyroscope or a 3-axis gyroscope, that itself, the one thing, shows the 3 different vectors.
Once the gyro determines the object's rate of rotation, fast or slow, it can send that information digitally downstream to other products that will help stabilize the equipment. For example, a camera on a drone or a gun on a tank. The information can also be used for vehicle guidance and navigation as well. Fiber optic gyros like this one are also called FOGs for short. And before we head inside, let's take a little bit of a closer look at how these work in the real world. A fiber optic gyro works by sending 2 different beams of light in
Pay attention to what they're going to say. Okay, they're explaining how it works. The principle is the Sagnac effect.
A fiber optic gyro works by sending 2 different beams of light in opposite directions around a closed path, and then it precisely measures the amount of time it takes for each beam to return to the starting point. If the fog is stationary, the beams will meet back at the starting point at the same time. But
if the fog is stationary, did you hear? If it's stationary, if it isn't moving, I'm going to play it again. I managed to play this twice on a Tim Osman's thing. If it's stationary, I've been saying idle because there is a different, I read a huge freaking article from one of the manufacturing firms, not KVH, by the way, and they said idle. Okay, but listen.
Around a closed path, and then it precisely measures the amount of time it takes for each beam to return to the starting point. If the fog is stationary, the beams will meet back at the starting point at the same time.
That's to say, the only way for them to be stationary and they meet at the same time is if the Earth isn't rotating, because they sure haven't taken one to space and made it not move, because it's impossible to not move in space according to the theory of the heliocentric model anyway.
If the fog is rotated, then the beams will travel different distances before they recombine at the starting point. The beam moving around the loop in the direction of the rotation will take a longer path since the loop is moving with it. But the beam going against the rotation will have a shorter path since the loop, and therefore the finish line is moving towards it.
And this same principle should also happen with planes flying in opposite directions over the globe. But it doesn't.
And because the fog outputs hundreds of measurements every second, it delivers outstanding precision. Plus, there are no moving parts to wear out or be affected by shock or vibration. So now, let's head inside to the factory to get a good feeling for how these high-tech sensors are actually made.
And they don't. You know, they say that, but then they don't go in. This is the point here.
And then it precisely measures the amount of time it takes for each beam to return to the starting point. If the fog is stationary, the beams will meet back at the starting point at the same time. But
how could they test that? I mean, it would be absolutely impossible to test on the Earth. I mean, either that's theory or gyros can't work because they're moving continuously, so they don't have a comparison point. They can't say, well, we're stationary now, no motion. Oh, we're moving now. Now we'll register motion. Because they're always moving, aren't they? So they can't be stationary at any point. That's why I think the guy who was talking about, oh, what's this? This moon thing. Oh, yeah. I'll play this now and then I'll go to bed. Then I'll wrap up. The gyro thing, yeah, it's a sham, guys. It's a sham. That's why the gyro can't tell. I mean, the gyro can send instructions to change the instrumentation to, you know, tanks and drones and whatnot. But they can't send instructions. So they can send information, but somehow they can't send the information of where they are located on Earth. Oh dear.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? Just want to talk a little bit about a recent article released by RT Magazine, February 21st, 2019. A staggering discovery reveals the moon lies inside Earth's atmosphere.
Oh, yeah.
If you can believe that one. No, I don't know the credibility of this article. I'm not claiming that it's true, but it's published and you can check it out on RT's website. So I'll just go through a few of the things they're talking about. The Earth's atmosphere is much bigger than previously thought, extending far beyond the moon. A team of scientists have revealed the amazing discovery was made thanks to data that has been sitting unexamined for over 20 years. We know that the atmosphere surrounding our planet stretches 630,000 kilometers, 391,464 miles away, and is 50 times the diameter of Earth, thanks to the discovery and analysis of decades-old data by scientists at Russia's Space Research Institute. It means the moon is part of our atmosphere and not outside of it. It's actually located right in the middle of our atmosphere.
That's right.
At an average distance of 384,400 kilometers or 238,855 miles from Earth. The moon flies through Earth's atmosphere, explained study author physicist Igor Balukin of Russia's Space Research Institute. The jaw-dropping data oh man, this is hard to read. The jaw-dropping data was collected by NASA European Space Agency Solar and Heliospheric Observatory. SOHO. Yeah, bunch of hoes, that's for sure. SOHO. Fucking NASA hoes. Between 1996 and 1998, and had been gathering dust in an archive since then. Something about measuring ultraviolet emissions from hydrogen atoms called the geocoronas. Blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, on the same website, they posted Russia's set to launch Super Heavy rocket to deliver landing launch module to the moon in 2029. Oh, fuck. So what do you globetards think of that? Okay, I'm sure all you Bible believers are going to push hard now and for the firmament. Yeah? So I think that's why all these players like Mark Sargent and so forth are pushing this dome theory, is because the bubble's bursting. The NASA hoes are being exposed.
Including Mark Sargent.
So I just wanted to make a short video on this article in case any of you haven't heard about it. I don't know what to say. Holy fuck.
Language, Timothy.
So the globe's falling apart. You know, they keep changing the narrative. I think eventually it's going to collapse in on itself.
It has done.
You know.
Oops. There you are.
Yeah, their false paradigm is collapsing. You know, imploding. So, you know, in one breath they say the Earth's, the moon's within our atmosphere now. You know, I guess that's how they skirt around the Van Halen belt and all that nonsense. I don't know, but I just wanted to make a short vid and let you guys know what the Russian Space Research Institute is saying. Yeah, all that information's been sitting on a shelf collecting dust. Maybe they'll find the moon's telemetry data on the next shelf, huh?
Oh, you just reminded me of something.
Take care of people.
Yes, good one. Right, I just remembered something, so I'm going to show this. Taking a bit. Have I misspelled it? No. Okay. Channel. There you are. I'm just going to move to a frame, to a shot. This is a fantastic video, by the way. Just go to this guy's channel and watch all the videos. They're very good videos. Right. No, not this one. There's another one. What would all of these mock-ups be for? Could they be to send off to various different here? This one, unfortunately, I can't expand the screen, so I'm gonna, zoom in. I'm gonna expand instead. I hope it works because I can't see behind other windows or if the stream is still going out. I'm gonna expand it. Hopefully it will air. What the heck is this? Like, is that crumpling really supposed to be like that? Is this piece here that's obviously peeled off from wherever it's supposed to be, is that really supposed to be like this? Are these doors really supposed to be made of cardboard? Or is it wood? I mean, they must have had the best carpenters. All of these are wooden frames. They're made of wood. Wait. Look, this is wood. It's not wood like metal. It's wood. Why would they be making all of these mock-ups? Now, he does have another one that I wanted to highlight, because I'm pretty sure the temperature on the moon is supposed to be pretty high in direct sunlight. Wait, I'll find it sooner or later. It might be in his other video. Yeah. What the heck is this? Who filmed that? Anyway. Oh. Just bear with me. Gorgos Dima. That's it. I think it's his other video. Ah, no, here. Okay. If sunlight on the moon is incredibly high, which according to the theory it is, then whatever type of sellotape this is has got some pretty strong glue. I mean, the adhesive hasn't melted. And this is some type of tape. This hasn't been stitched onto this craft paper. It's just so incredibly absurd. By the way, I just thought I'd mention this. We can all thank Math Powerland for the Lunacy lander. Here it is. Here's the shot. This sellotape, it's not melted. The adhesive hasn't melted. And it is sellotape. I mean, is that really supposed to be like that? I mean, I don't see any metal here. I see plastic, but I don't see any metal. And if you were to drop a bulldozer from 10 feet up, yeah, it would fall at the same acceleration, but with less force. That's what gravitational constant entails. Less force when it hits the ground, but same acceleration. That thing was supposed to weigh the same as a bulldozer. Imagine dropping a bulldozer from 10 feet up, make it a bulldozer that weighs 1/6 of a bulldozer's weight. That device, drop that from 10 feet up. Let's see if the broom handles don't snap off. It's absolutely ridiculous. And this is why people like Wolfie are doing the things they're doing. Who's this? You can have a wrench. Don't know. This is why Wolfie and those guys are in such a panic. I mean, I haven't seen a diagram yet of the Earth's new atmosphere with the moon inside it, but I will be drawing one. In fact, the very next Hangout I do, I will show it. Anyway, thank you very much, guys. Thanks to Emerald Rider. Yes, I had read that article. Oh, we had that. Oh, we knew about it 20 years ago. I have mocked that they will say, oh, yeah, we knew about it already. Yeah, look at this stuff that we already had. Like, oh, really? Did you really have it? Yeah, can we see it? No. Data, yeah, looking, and yeah, it looks like there's hydrogen up there. Oh, good heavens, there's hydrogen, yeah. And how far away is it? Well, we've determined that it's, well, farther away than the moon. Oh, how have you determined that? Math, that's how. Oh, okay. Anyway, there you go. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks everybody in the chat. I hope it's not been too much of a hassle with trolls, but I do wonder what are the Spanish flat earthers doing if they're not picking up on the huge gaffes of that prediction. Oh yes, nearly forgot. I'm glad I didn't. Of that eclipse in South America on the 26th of December. In fact, I'm going to screen share and show you. I've been talking about this a little bit with Orphan Red, and also with a couple of seismologists. Just give me a second while I pull it up. Where is it? Where it's gone? Huh? Right. So earlier in the month, there's an eclipse of the sun, a total solar eclipse, whilst the sun is at perigee, just about, okay, sorry, apogee, the farthest away from Earth, supposedly, according to the globe model. In reality, is where it's the shape it's running in, the shape that it's the sun, is slightly wider, farther out. Okay, this shape. There's a total solar eclipse at the start of this month and at the end of this month, like now. Crazy electrical storms, crazy winds, just crazy weather in North America. What I'm going to show you, I'm going to screen share. Is where the eclipse is going to be on the 26th of December. Because I'm going to make a prediction. Okay. 26th of December. This. Look at where it's going to be. Now, do you know where the Mariana Trench is? Here's the bottom of the Mariana Trench, if you want to think of north as top. I'm going to play the eclipse. Now, if you think electromagnetic fields have nothing to do with light and therefore with eclipses, and that water has no impact on them, then carry on. But I think that this eclipse is going to cause problems. I just can't determine where the problems are going to be. If it's going to be across the north, or if it's going to be in northern Russia and China. I can't say for sure. But that there's going to be something big happen not long after December 26th, which is the day after Christmas, remember folks, day after Christmas, this eclipse. Now, the other was a total annular eclipse. You might notice this eclipse is much bigger. The globe says, oh, it's because the globe tapers. Like, oh, okay, well, if it tapers, then there's more, it covers more land because it's still, you know, a light casting shadow from the globe perspective. So why was the eclipse, if this eclipse is this long, why was the eclipse that went to South America not much longer? It should be. It rotates at the same pace, the Earth. The moon rotates around the Earth at the same pace. So it should have cast a much longer eclipse, but it didn't. It's because the theory is wrong. So let me show this one. No, not this one. Oh, no, this one doesn't. Does it have a play function? Nope. 1 second. Right over the Mariana Trench. This one maybe. Oh. Where is it? Oh, here it is. And the Mariana Trench, the end of the Mariana Trench is about here. It goes like this, the Mariana Trench. So look, it's going to go over the Mariana Trench. This is going to cause something. I can't say for sure what it's going to cause, but that it's going to cause nothing. No, it's not going to cause nothing. So after December 26th, when chaos breaks out in either northern Russia or maybe Canada, after that, you can bring people to this video and tell them, play the end of it, because this guy has predicted this based on the earth being flat and his very scant understanding of electromagnetism, light, and water. Okay, folks, that's it. Thanks very much for your time. Good night.